guys. You caught me in the middle of enjoying one of my favorite one of my favorite albums, period, Time Out by the Dave Brubeck Quartet on the Columbia label from 1959. This is side 1, track 1, Blue Rondo a la Turk. From the cover art to the vibe of the music, this is the quintessential cool daddy-o jazz album. It's borderline cliche, but it can't be because this style of music wouldn't exist without this album. I mean, this must have been the go-to record for man caves of the early 60s. And if you're planning a Mad Men themed cocktail party, this needs to be in your playlist. So this is basically a concept album where the quartet was experimenting with different time signatures. Now, I don't claim to know a lot about different time signatures apart from their standard 4/4, which if you don't know what that is, just listen to the radio and 99% of the songs you hear from rock to country to the blues is in 4/4. But suffice it to say, time signatures are very important for musicians, but not so important for the listener. Let me try to explain this. For this song, it's in 9/8 time, so to count out the beats, it'd be something like this. 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 3. Now it's much faster than that, and you guys can try it out at home, but that's the basic idea. Anyhow, prior to this album, jazz music never strayed too far from the standard 4/4 time signature. Then along comes Brubeck and changes everything. Every song on this album has a different time signature, from 9/8 to 5/4, and some songs have multiple time signatures in one song, hence the title of the album, Time Out. So in that sense, this album was very influential for jazz music as it broke down musical barriers. Moving on to a song you've probably heard before, track 3, Take 5. Holy cow! I love this song. I would date it if I could. Seriously, I am dead serious about that. I am signing up for OkCupid right now. Take 5, Take Me Home Tonight. And Paul Desmond's saxophone playing on this track? Amazing, especially when you hear the chorus. I feel like there's notes that you hear that he's not actually playing. I know it sounds crazy, but hear me out. Listen for yourself. I think the thing is he's playing so softly, it's like he's not playing at all. Now that is true musicianship, and you hear it on this track. Now this single would go on to be a top 40 hit for the group, and it was so popular in fact that Columbia redesigned the cover to emphasize the track. Now I have the original pressing in stereo. There was also a mono version released with both covers, and just last year they released a double LP 200-gram vinyl mastered at 45 revolutions per minute. So whatever you fancy, there's a version out there for you. Time Out was initially panned by critics, but went on to sell over 1 million copies, making it the first jazz album to go platinum. I should point out that at this time, it was considered a success if a jazz album sold over 50,000 copies. Flipping over to side 2, we have track 1, 3 to Get Ready. Dave Brubeck was born on December 6, 1920 and grew up in Northern California. At an early age, his mom taught him piano, but he couldn't read music due to his poor eyesight. Apparently, young David was so gifted that he could fake reading music to the point where his parents didn't even know he had a problem for a long time. After high school, Dave intended to study veterinary science in college, but the dean urged him to follow his dreams and study music, which thankfully he did. After graduating in 1942, he was drafted into the Army, but was spared combat duty because of his talented piano playing. While stationed in Europe, Dave formed the group The Wolfpack, which was one of the first racially integrated bands in the Army. As you can imagine, at that time, that was a big deal, but to Dave, that was just his style. After the war, Dave played in a trio and an octet before forming the now famous quartet in 1951. Over time, the quartet released dozens of albums and found unprecedented success as a jazz group. Despite the group's celebrity, they still dealt with prejudice for being an integrated band. The group lasted until 1968 when Dave decided to pursue solo work. Jumping down to track 2, Kathy's Waltz. Dave went on to have an amazing musical career, winning dozens of awards, at least 3 honorary doctorates in music, and has a whole asteroid belt named after him. I mean, how cool is that? Sadly, Dave passed away last year, just one day shy of his 92nd birthday. But he left us this amazing piece of work. And seriously guys, if you don't own it, you need to pick it up like pronto. I am telling you. And if you're new to jazz music, this is a great introduction into the genre. One more thing before I go, I have some awesome finds. Alright guys, so I recently checked out one of my favorite current bands, which is Snowden here locally in LA, and one of the opening acts was this band, Emmanuel. They're from Sweden, and apparently they spend half their time on a boat just sailing around, and they have footage of this and they play that at concerts. I only caught 2 songs of their set and they captivated me. I don't know what it was about them. So I went over to their merch table and they had 2 albums on vinyl, so I picked up this one. This is the most recent release. It's called In Passage. What's cool about it is it comes on this clear vinyl, which I really dug. It's got a nice matte finish on the back and the front. On the inside, it's actually a glossy, no, scratch that. It's actually a semi-gloss on the inside. Fortunately, unfortunately, however you look at it, the album was so big they couldn't fit it on one LP, so they included a 7-inch with the rest of the songs on it, which is also on that really cool clear vinyl. Overall, it's a really pretty package. I highly recommend you guys check them out. If you know the band Explosions in the Sky, I think you'll really like these guys. They're a lot like that. It's mellow music, it's not depressing. It's very relaxing, and it's great to unwind after a long day. And with that, guys, I am your Vinyl Geek, and I'll catch you on the flip side. He was drafted into the Army, but was spared combat duty due...
You have to take it out.